Hello geeks, and welcome to Fact or Fiction, the quiz where we put your knowledge to the test. From mind-blowing science to legendary tales, we've got some tricky statements lined up. Think you can separate truth from myth? So get ready to challenge what you think you know. Let's dive in. Before we play, please subscribe Brain Geeks to watch more exciting videos. Here is the first one. First up, the Mona Lisa has no eyebrows. Is this a fact or just another quirky art rumor? It is a fact. The Mona Lisa has no visible eyebrows, likely because they were never painted in detail or faded over time. Here's a classic one. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. What do you think, truth or myth? It's a myth. Lightning can and often does strike the same spot, especially tall structures like skyscrapers or trees. Here's a popular belief. Goldfish have a memory span of only 3 seconds. What's your take, fact or fiction? Fiction it is. Goldfish actually have memories that last several months, and they can even be trained to recognize sounds and patterns. Next, let's test your physics knowledge. You can't touch anything colder than absolute zero. Fact or fiction? Fact. Absolute zero is the lowest theoretical temperature where all molecular motion stops, and it's impossible to go colder than that. Here's a tricky one. A crocodile cannot stick its tongue out. Is it true or a myth? It's correct. A crocodile cannot stick its tongue out because it's held in place by a membrane that keeps it immobile. Let's talk about bats. You've probably heard this one. Bats are blind. Is it true or just a common misconception? Fiction. Bats can see, though many species rely more on echolocation to navigate in the dark. Here's a bizarre one. Albert Einstein's brain was stolen after his death. What do you think, fact or fiction? It can be a fact. Well, sort of. Einstein's brain was indeed removed without his family's permission and studied for decades to understand his intelligence. Moving to the human mind, people only use 10% of their brains. Is this a fascinating fact or pure fiction? Fiction. Humans use nearly all parts of their brain, even during simple tasks. Ostriches bury their heads in the sand when they're scared. What's your guess, fact or fiction? It's a myth. Ostriches don't bury their heads. They lower their heads to the ground to stay camouflaged or turn their eggs. Here's something wild. Octopuses have 3 hearts. Fact or fiction? Absolutely true. 2 hearts pump blood to their gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of their body. Now, let's talk about the ocean giants. A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant. Is that true or just an exaggeration? It is a fact. A blue whale's tongue can weigh up to 3 tons, which is about the size of a small elephant. Did Vikings really wear horned helmets as often depicted in movies and TV shows? Is it a fact or fiction? It's a myth. Vikings didn't wear horned helmets. This image came from 19th century opera costumes. Here's one you might have heard. Cats always land on their feet. Is this a fact or just a feline fable? It's not 100% fact. Cats have a righting reflex that helps them land on their feet, but extreme heights, illness, or other situations can affect them. Let's move to the skies. Hummingbirds can fly backward. What do you think? Fact or just another bird myth? Fact. Hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backward, thanks to their unique wing structure. How about this? Glass is a liquid that flows very slowly over time. Fact or fiction? It's a misconception. Glass is an amorphous solid, not a liquid, and its shape doesn't change due to flow over time. Here's one about science. Water boils faster at high altitudes. Is this statement true or false? This one's true. At higher altitudes, lower air pressure causes water to boil at a lower temperature. Here's a wildlife myth. Touching a baby bird will cause its mother to abandon it. What's your answer? Fact or fiction? That's a fiction. Most birds don't have a strong sense of smell, so they won't abandon their chicks if touched by humans. The heart of a shrimp is located in its head. Is this a fascinating fact or fiction? Absolutely true. A shrimp's heart is in its thorax, which is close to its head, making it appear as though it's in its head. A fun legend. Coffee was discovered by dancing goats. Could this be true or is it just a story? It can be a fact. Well, sort of. According to legend, Ethiopian goats danced after eating coffee berries, leading to its discovery. Here's an electrifying one. Lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun. True or false? Surprisingly, it's true. A lightning bolt can reach temperatures of 30,000 Kelvin, while the sun's surface is around 5,500 Kelvin. Here's a curious claim. Goldfish turn white if kept in darkness. What do you think? Fact or falsehood? Fact. Without light, goldfish lose pigmentation, causing them to appear pale or white. Let's talk about space. The moon has a dark side. What do you think? Fact or fiction? Fiction. The moon rotates, so all sides receive sunlight at different times. What we call the dark side is just the far side we don't see from Earth. Napoleon Bonaparte is often remembered as being very short. Is this true, or is history exaggerating? It's a myth. Napoleon was about 5'6", which was average height for French men of his time. Do camels actually store water in their humps, or is this just a popular misconception? It's a myth. Camels' humps store fat, not water. They hydrate from water stored in their bodies. Do bulls really get enraged by the color red? What's your take, truth or tale? That's a tale. Bulls are colorblind to red. It's the movement of the fabric that agitates them. Lemons float while limes sink in water. Fact or fiction? It's correct. Lemons are less dense than water, while limes are slightly denser, causing them to sink. Here's a tiny question. Ants don't have lungs. Is this statement accurate or not? Absolutely true. Ants breathe through tiny holes in their bodies called spiracles instead of lungs. Hair continue to grow after death. Fact or false belief? Fiction it is. After death, the skin shrinks, giving the illusion that hair have grown. The human nose can distinguish over 1 trillion scents. What do you think, science or exaggeration? It is a fact. The human nose is incredibly sensitive and can differentiate 1 trillion different smells. Is the Great Wall of China really visible from space, or is that just a famous myth? It's a myth. While the wall is massive, it's not easily visible to the naked eye from space. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 minutes. Could this be true? Absolutely true. The Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 holds this record, ending in just 38 minutes. Water boil and freeze at the same time. Fact or far-fetched? Fact. Under certain conditions, like at a triple point when gas, liquid, and solid coexist, water can boil and freeze simultaneously. Cleopatra was Egyptian. Is it a truth or tale? That's a tale. Cleopatra was actually of Greek descent, from the Ptolemaic dynasty. Wombats have cube-shaped poop. What do you think, truth or trickery? It is a fact. Wombats produce cube-shaped poop to mark their territory and prevent it from rolling away. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built by slaves. Do you believe it or not? That's a fiction. Evidence suggests the pyramids were built by skilled laborers who were well-fed and housed. Did Albert Einstein fail math in school? What do you think, truth or urban legend? That's an urban legend. Einstein excelled in math as a child and had a natural talent for numbers. Astronomy lovers, here's one. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Is this for real? Fact. Venus takes 243 Earth days to rotate once, but only 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun. Can the Great Barrier Reef really be seen from space? Fact, or just another tall tale? It is a fact. The Great Barrier Reef is visible from space due to its massive size and brightness in the ocean. The longest living animal is the tortoise. Is this a solid fact or a shelled-out fiction? It's a misconception. The ocean quahog clam holds the record, living for over 500 years, though tortoises are long-lived too. Is the moon really drifting away from Earth? What do you think? Science or speculation? It's correct. The moon moves about 3.8 centimeters away from Earth every year due to tidal forces. Here's a curious one. Polar bears are left-handed. True or false? Fiction it is. There's no evidence that polar bears favor one paw over the other. They use both equally. Peanuts or nuts? Makes sense, right? Or is there more to this story? Fiction. Peanuts are actually legumes, not true nuts, as they grow underground. There are more than 7,000 languages spoken worldwide. Does this number sound accurate to you? This one's true. Linguists estimate there are over 7,100 languages spoken globally, though some are endangered. Was spaghetti invented in Italy, as most people believe? Let's hear your thoughts. Truth or twist? It's a misconception. Spaghetti has origins in China, but Italians perfected and popularized it as we know it today. Here's one about sharks. Are they immune to all diseases? What's your answer? Fact or falsehood? Fiction. Sharks are resistant to some diseases, but they are not entirely immune to all illnesses. Is the heart really a muscle, or is it something else? What do you think? Absolutely true. The heart is a specialized muscle called cardiac muscle that tirelessly pumps blood through our bodies. The first computer was as big as a house. Do you think this is accurate? It is a fact. Early computers like ENIAC were massive, occupying entire rooms and requiring significant power. Humans share 60% of their DNA with bananas. Could this really be true? Surprisingly, it's true. Humans share about 60% of their genetic code with bananas, highlighting the common building blocks of life. Do lemmings really commit mass suicide by jumping off cliffs? Fact or misconception? That's a tale. This myth was popularized by a documentary, but lemmings don't intentionally jump to their deaths. And last round. Did Christopher Columbus really discover America? Is this a historical fact or a common misconception? It's a misconception. Indigenous peoples had lived in the Americas for thousands of years, and Norse explorer Leif Erikson likely reached North America centuries before Columbus. And that ends this quiz. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please give a big thumbs up and subscribe for more.